I'm Gab, he's Jules. Cloudy skies over West London, but certainly not over the red half of Manchester
Yeah,
as they win the Manchester Derby. That's going to be our main talking point. Obviously, we'll be talking a lot of AFCON in the
of
second segment.
course.
That was remarkable.
Yeah,
Bayern Munich on pace to break records. What
yeah.
else is new? Arsenal drawing, but extending their lead in the table. How about
Somehow,
that?
yeah,
So tons of stuff to get into. Oh, and Real Madrid.
of
I
course.
think this might be Florentino's worst week since
Yeah,
certainly since his second term as president. Um, but let's start the Manchester Derby. It's 2-0, and it's pretty much, I thought, it looked like a completely different United. I know it's a
yeah,
cliche. I don't like cliches. And you can say it's the new manager bounce, but then again, they already had the new manager bounce with Darren Fletcher.
yeah,
Um, it just looked like there was a level of organization, and I guess not that they were disorganized under Amorim, but a level of organization, a system that people are familiar with, where
yeah,
they're actually in their better positions,
yeah,
um, and a level of calm and almost like a quiet confidence from Michael Carrick's team.
yeah. And we need to start by obviously praising Manchester United and Michael Carrick before criticizing Pep Guardiola
That's what I was
and
doing.
Manchester City. Yeah, no, yeah, you were right.
Yeah.
Because it was City's worst performance by far this season. Terrible from Guardiola to the players. But credit to United. You're right, the 4-2-3-1, to go back to that, to put Bruno Fernandes in his best position as that number 10, to have Mbomo. All the decisions in terms of team selection that Carrick made, Mbomo as a number 9 ahead of, I don't know, Cunha, Shesko, Zirkzee, to have Dorgu on the left and Ahmad on the right. For example, in that front four with Bruno, Mainu back as a starter, his first start in the league this season, obviously was good with Casemiro. Even, I don't like Harry Maguire, but Maguire and Lisandro Martinez together against Erling Haaland. All of that worked. What I like maybe the most is the intensity and the passion that they showed, which had been sometimes there with Amorim, but this time it was, you could tell they were really up for it.
Yeah, I don't like to talk too much about sort of the metaphysical, psychological side of football because I think we over-egg it too much, but it was definitely there. And I think, and let me ask you this, because I asked a question in the column. I think we both agree, I'm putting words in your mouth, Diogo Dalot should have been sent off, yeah?
Yeah,
After 11 minutes?
15 minutes, yeah.
Okay, so if he gets sent off, it's possible that they don't win the game.
Absolutely.
But do you think it would have affected the way they played after, other than being down to 10 minutes, in terms of intensity, in terms of vibe that Carrick gives
No,
off?
yeah, you're right. Probably not. You would have probably played deeper with a lower block, but keep that intensity in all the duels. They were on top of everything, winning the first one, winning the second one, fighting for everything. And at some point, I thought, okay, they're going to run out of gas at some point, and maybe City in the last 20, 25, 30 minutes would just come back into the game, score one, and then it'd be very tense and things like that. But no, never. They kept going and going. And again, and I think Guardiola is right, and I'm not trying to defend him, but to have played on the Tuesday against Newcastle away in the League Cup semi-final first leg, when United obviously had a whole week to prepare, even with a new manager, I think took his toll. But then we can then criticize Guardiola for the team selection after anyway.
Yeah, no question about that. I would imagine we didn't say it. Ryan Shirky on the bench.
How is he not starting is beyond me.
There's another factor too. Erling Haaland had 14 touches in this game, 3 in the opposition half. And you look at the guys who were out there. Certainly in midfield, you expect a midfield trio of Rodri, Foden, and Bernardo Silva to be able to control the game and to provide regular service, and the two wingers, of course, that they had out there. But it wasn't there. I mean, Doku and Semenyo, you expect speed and energy and whatever. That is a failure. And I want to blame the back line because obviously if you're worrying about what's happening behind you, but it can't just all be that, oh no, I'm concerned that, Nathan Ake is and Kusanov are gonna lay eggs again.
Yeah, but when your back four is the one that City had in this game, which is a makeshift one because obviously they're waiting for Maguire to arrive, which is soon, but they've got all those injuries. Okay, we all know that. But to still play such a high defensive line away at Old Trafford, I know it's a team that United that hadn't won much and were in crisis and all of that. But they've got pace. They've got Bruno that can pick a ball anywhere, as we saw on the Dogu chance that
Yeah.
Donnarumma saves. Incredible.
2 exceptional saves from Donnarumma, I thought.
Yeah.
This could have been 4 or 5.
But you can't play that high line with such a passive press in midfield. Like Rodri can't run anymore. Bernardo can't run anymore. They can't press. We know that Haaland, you said the other day on the show, is not a good presser of the ball either. So how can you go into this game like this with that kind of game plan from Guardiola is crazy.
Yeah. And I think if you thought Doku and Semenyo were going to do enough of the pressing on their own, no.
Not
didn't work
wide
that
like
way.
this. He doesn't,
No.
you know.
All right, Jules, let's talk to the defense. Obviously, Pep kind of feels the same way because Guardiola out for the season.
Yeah.
Ruben Diaz out until middle of February. John Stones in and out. We don't know. So they've lined up £20 million for Mark Gay. Now, I'm being super cautious with this because I remember another team that had agreed a deal for Mark Gay, and he was having his medical and stuff, and Steve Parrish was in the sauna, and then suddenly the deal collapsed. And to this day, we still don't know. We still don't know why.
Yeah.
And no, it's not because Oliver Glasner threatened to resign, by the way. We assume it's going to go through. If it doesn't go through, I want to. Gay would obviously be a tremendous addition. He'd have to make an adjustment, I think, from going to a back 3 to a back 4. But he's a smart guy. He's a good leader.
He does that with England anyway.
He's better than Kusanov and Max Aline.
Yeah.
Where Max Aline is right now, right?
Yeah.
But I think the broader thing is they realize that they need another center back. And as you know, I love being critical of clubs and Monday morning quarterbacking. I gave Liverpool a super hard time because they went into the season with Konate, Van Dijk, and then a young Leone and an old Joe Gomez.
Yeah.
And botched the Gay thing. I wonder, like, have I been too kind to Pep? Because you could look at it and say, oh, you went into the season with Diaz and Gvardiol, and I guess Ake is the extra.
Yeah.
But Ake's not that
No.
good.
Yeah, it hasn't been that great for a while. Yeah.
So he recognizes this, and he's trying to fix it on the fly.
They're lucky to have the kind of Gehi opportunity that usually you don't come up that often.
Although weirdly this summer, I mean, I guess they can't sign Konate.
No, yeah.
But they could sign Daya Upamecano
Yeah,
if they
true.
threw enough money at him.
But for January signing to be like this, a bargain at I know it's 20 million and he's free in 6 months, but still a player of his caliber. That's they're lucky there.
And we've seen guys 6 months away from free agency, incidentally, go for much more than 20 million.
As well,
So I think we need to put that in. I think he just obviously thought that Kusanov was going to develop maybe differently than he did.
Yeah, and I think Kusanov is actually
He's still very
improving.
young.
Yeah, he's really young, but I think he's improving. The problem is around him, and not just him, but that, as we said, that back line in general is Rodri and Bernardo in front of it, and what you want to do with that back line, how high you want it, how you're going to press, how you're going to defend as a team, your rest defense, which I think, again, in this game against United was terrible. And it's very strange that we get to this point of the season in January. And okay, I know the injuries are a problem, fair enough. But defensive structure for top clubs, usually, yes, you've got more important players than others and better players than others, but it's still a top club. And the basics of your defensive structure and your rest defense, for example, should be the same, whether it's Xiaomi playing or Kusanov or Ruben Diaz and Gvardiol. They'd be better than us. But the idea is the same, right? Let's be in this position if we lose the ball. Let's do this if we lose the ball. If we have the ball, we are there. There was none of that in this game. I was appalled by the level of Manchester City from the start to the end, with the ball and without the ball, in every compartment of the game. And Guardiola can say, they were better than us, they beat us, congratulations to them. Sure. But look into what you did as a game plan, the team that you set up, and how bad the whole thing was.
He needs to figure it out, and I think this is something you have to figure out on the training pitch. And he just doesn't have a lot of training sessions.
Yeah.
So against most teams, I think they can coast, and Gay comes and Donnarumma performs a few miracles, and Haaland isn't as poor as he was in this game. But nightmare scenario, what happens if Haaland goes down? What happens if Haaland has a run like he had, for example, the year that they won the treble where he didn't score for like a long time?
Even nice. 1 goal in 6 is on penalty. He hasn't scored in open play for 6 games.
I mean, that is what really would concern you, because it's not like he has all these prolific players around him and they got a ton of goals from midfield. or from the wings. I mean, maybe Marmouche returning is going to help a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's something, apart from the defense, that's something that that should be concerning you. And also, do you want to play this pressing game? Should you be playing a possession game?
But Pep Linders is here for that.
Well,
Otherwise, you don't hire him.
That's fine. Pep Linders is here, and City are having a bad season again, like last season, by their standards, by the standards that the other Pep set, right? So it's not like, oh, look, I've just brought, Michael Jordan on board. I need to do everything he says.
No, but you must believe in that.
You believe in it, but if after 6 months you haven't been able to implement it in a satisfactory way, I wonder at what point does Pep say, you know what, I have better players than anybody else. I'm Pep. I've played many different ways. Maybe what this guy wants to do isn't right for me. Maybe I find another way to go and get this over the line, because we can't let a season like this where we're 7 points behind Arsenal.
Yeah, it's interesting because we mentioned about the evolution earlier in the season, which they seem to be getting there, overloading that midfield. We've explained it at length, and they seem to have gone back on that to maybe go back a bit to what they were before, like you said, in the glory years. The problem is Rodri is half the player that won the Ballon d'Or. Bernardo is nowhere near as good. When Foden is transparent, like not just this game, but has been transparent for weeks now, if Doku or Semenyo, but more Doku because he's been there longer, doesn't work a bit of magic, there's just nothing.
I think...
So just to finish before you go, even the positional play, which obviously was the strength for so many years, even that is not working.
And I think if you go for the positional play, high possession, knock it around type game, and you have the players you could do that too, you also have Tijani Reinders, and that's not really his game, right?
No, yeah, but...
So you kind of lose one way or another. I'm not even sure. I mean, Ryan Shirky can do many different things. I'm not even sure if that's his best game, right?
Yeah, sure.
So it's...
But to have 65% of the ball like they did on Saturday and do nothing with it because they didn't have really anything.
Was it one shot on target the whole game?
I think, it's terrible.
All right, we got to talk about Michael Carrick. But before, just a little aside. So Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes were on the Overlap, Gary Neville's podcast.
Right.
I think it is Gary Neville's podcast, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really listen to it.
But they made a comment about how small Lisandro Martinez was. And they're talking about how Erling Haaland can put him in his pocket and whatever.
Right.
Lisandro Martinez says, I don't care what they say.
Yeah.
I don't listen to them. But if they want to say something like that, they should come to my house and say it to my face.
Yeah, I love that from Lisandro Martinez.
Part of me says, okay, this is just a bit of fun, blah, blah, blah. And look, they have a job to do. And I'm biased. I really like Nicky Butt as a person. I had the privilege of meeting him. They're doing their jobs as pundits. They, making fun of somebody's height isn't necessarily
That's
like
not
the
punditry
most
for me, but
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're going to talk about like, oh look, it's difficult for him against a big guy, but joking that he's a Smurf, it's kind of like third grade, but whatever. And Martinez should be right in saying I don't care, like not taking too seriously.
Above that,
I do wonder too. By the way, like Paul Scholes isn't exactly.
Did we say about Paul? No, but did we say about Paul Scholes against Patrick Vieira when he was playing against him?
Yeah, I know. He's like, look, Patrick Vieira.
I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, and of course after something like this, but I do think it's worth mentioning because it did get quite a bit of attention, and it is the kind of thing that can galvanize matters a little bit.
Yeah, completely.
And look, in the end, all these guys in the punditocracy, all these former match tribe, I don't know that they're always constructive in what they say because
even with
they
their
keep
own
harking back to the past.
Yeah, sure.
But nobody's going to doubt the fact that they love the club and they want to see Manchester United do well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
With that in mind, one of them, Michael Carrick, is back as coach. The plan is for him until the end of the season. The last time they had this, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came back, won 1 million games in a row.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, screw this interim job. Give him the job. Give him the job now, right?
And they did.
And they did.
Yeah.
And I don't think it worked out.
No.
They had some results. I think they finished second under Solskjaer.
Yeah.
Longer term, I don't think it was any kind of development or everything. It was just trying to ape what they had before.
Yeah.
Does that mean it would automatically be a mistake to give Michael Carrick?
No, just don't rush it. As we said on Thursday's show, don't rush it. Give him and which is the plan.
Well, you weren't here for Thursday's show.
Oh, Monday show. Sorry, Monday show.
Exactly.
Monday show. My bad. Give him until the end of the season, which is the plan, and then at the end of the season, where you would already have worked on your next manager through the season, because now they're receiving CVs, they're receiving phone calls from agents, from managers themselves. I'm sure they're going to draw a short list very soon on who they think could be the right guy from July 1st onwards, or whenever you want, end of June. And if they feel that Carrick is doing a good job between now and May, then they will add him to that short list. He will go through the same process, interview, exposing his showing his ideas, all of that. And then if they think he's better than Tuchel, Nagelsmann, Conte, Inzaghi, you or me, then they pick him.
That is the way it has to work. I'll be curious.
Just don't give it to him in March if he's won 5 in a row. That's all.
There were different people in charge back when the Solskjaer incident happened. I think it's going to be really curious. I'll be really curious to see how Omar Barada handles this and the owners. I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to do what you're suggesting they do and what I think is right. Which is take your time. Also, I think Michael Carrick has a different personality from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yes, probably.
More importantly, he has a different agent than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Also,
I don't think anybody's going to be knocking on the door. And I also think the United ex-player commentariat out there, maybe they learned a little bit from the Solskjaer experience, and they said, hey, guys, let's not rush the club into a decision. There's nothing to be gained from it. All right, enough Manchester derby. Let's talk AFCON. We have new champions. It's Senegal. Yeah. You might have heard a little bit about this. There is a ton to unpack. But first of all, I just want to focus on the football side. If we can, let's remove the disallowed goal, the Brahim Diaz penalty, the walk off the pitch for a minute, and just focus on the football of what we saw on the pitch. And I'm going to right out and say it. I think Senegal outplayed Morocco. But Yassine Bounou made some huge saves. There were chances on either side. But deserving winners just from the football side. Take everything else out.
In the final, in the whole tournament, Senegal are the best team in Africa right now. It's their second AFCON in 4 years. They won in 2021. They've had another final. They're just the best team. They have the most depth. They have the best squad.
Well, you talk as if it was obvious, but going into the tournament, Morocco were heavy favorites.
Because it was in Morocco, and Morocco are the highest ranked team in the FIFA rankings. They've just went to the semi-final of the last World Cup. But we knew that Senegal were amongst the best, if not the best already, even if they were not the biggest favorite. And they showed that how solid they were, how good they were with the ball, how key their star players from Gay to the two Gays, to Mane, to Young Mbaye, for example, just outstanding.
All right, let's go now to the incidents for which this is going to be remembered. People will focus on the walk-off. I want to start with Ismaila Sarr's disallowed goal.
Yeah, that's where it starts, because without that, you don't walk off.
Okay, so in the context to this, Morocco closely aligned with FIFA. They're getting the 2030 World Cup. There were complaints from Cameroon and Nigeria, who Morocco beat in the quarterfinals and semifinals on penalties. So this was the context. So there's already, and we always get this in tournaments, right? There's always conspiracy. They're favoring the host nation, blah, blah. This happens everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
This goal gets disallowed because the referee sees a foul on Achraf Hakimi.
Yeah, Sek on Hakimi.
Abdoulaye Seka on Hakimi. He blows the whistle straight away.
Yeah.
The ball then goes into the net. Because he blew the whistle straight away, VAR can't review it.
Yeah.
And you and I know this. We've seen incidents of this.
Everywhere,
I think a lot of people watching are like, what the hell? That was never a foul on Hakimi. Why wasn't this called? Now, obviously, I don't believe the referee knew the ball was going to go into the net.
No, it definitely didn't.
I just think it was bad officiating.
Yeah.
Let the play unfold, right?
Yeah, completely.
We're on the same page with that one.
But then you understand why the Senegalese felt really frustrated
absolutely
and done by that call.
Furious with the referee. It almost seemed like a preemptive foul call, right?
Yeah.
The second incident, of course, the ball comes into the box off a corner kick. It's Malik Diouf and Brahim Diaz. Brahim Diaz goes down. Malik Diouf's holding him. Whether he throws him to the ground or not entirely clear. But his arms are up. That, to me, is something that, for me, that should be a penalty.
Yeah, I think
if you haven't been calling it the whole game, though, I can understand why you start calling in the 7th minute of injury time. That's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a foul from Diouf on on Diaz, grabbing his neck and kind of pulling back, even if it's a little bit soft, sure, but you should not do that. And I think Jules' reaction says it all anyway. He realized the mistake that he's made. Diaz was calling for the VAR to review it, calling for the penalty. It got reviewed. He got the penalty. And then obviously hell unfolded.
Yes. After that, obviously a lot of protests, very unruly. And then almost all the Senegal players, Sadio Mane stayed. And by the way, we're watching this game on television. Hey, newsflash, I wasn't in Rabat. I'm told that it wasn't the only Senegal player who stayed out there.
Yeah, there were 3 of them, I think. I think even Edouard Mendy stayed.
The camera's obviously on.
And you see Gab Juls, the head coach, saying, come on, let's go back in. All
right, we've seen this before, taking players off the pitch. Actually, you weren't even born, though, the last time it happened in international competition, in men's competition. I think it happened with the women at the World Cup, if I'm not mistaken, a couple World Cups ago. But I'm thinking about France against Kuwait in 1982.
I was born, but I was very...
You don't remember the game.
I've seen on television, but yeah, it's something similar.
So it's not unprecedented. It's obviously, I mean, with hindsight, you can see the frustration, but you cannot do that. And by the rules, if you do that, you forfeit the game.
Yeah, forfeit. I think they would have had a World Cup ban too. It's just not acceptable for a team because they were not happy with the referee, which we've always been. All of us have been at some point, at every level, part of that, having that feeling, but it's not a reason to take your team off. Maybe it was a bit of mind games to put Brahim Diaz off. I think there was 18 minutes break. He took his penalty in the 90th plus 24.
Yeah, look, if it's mind games, they're stupid mind games because the referee at any point can call an end to the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why the referee was
book everybody for leaving the field of play. Or there's many things he can do.
But there's no doubt that this obviously was, I think, a difficult time for Brahim Diaz to wait and get the ball. Then there was more weight as he put the ball on the spot. Mendy, Mane, the referee, all of that. And I mean, he looked stressed from the first second when he was about to think about taking that penalty anyway.
And then he takes one of the worst Panenka.
I mean, why a Panenka at that time anyway, unless you think you're Zidane, but you're not.
Or Totti against Australia.
Yeah, not really the same than Zidane's World Cup final. But yeah, I don't know. But to try it and to have such a bad attempt at it is
Can we rule this out as conspiracy theorists? He missed on purpose? No, he did not.
No,
and that is not his weaker foot. And then after that, it's almost as if Senegal are galvanized by it. And they really take over, and they score a tremendous goal.
Yeah, amazing. Abgay.
And then they missed what would have been the goal for 2-0. When he missed that, I said, all right, karma. Something's going to happen at the other end. They're going to equalize. So in the end, I think football-wise, worthy winners. Do their actions make them unworthy winners? Should they be stripped of the cup? That is a much broader question. There's certainly we're fighting with fire. Jules, obviously the walk-off is the big story here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think there's a couple things to unpack. One is, if the players had remonstrated, shouted, caused a brawl at the end, had a guy sent off, whatever, then I think people would have been more okay with it than walking off. I think Senegal just really, in my view, they did something almost unprecedented, and that just makes you look foolish, and that is exceptionally risky.
And it's a bad look on you, obviously, on your team, on your country. It's a bad look for African football in general, I think.
I don't know if it's African football in general. It's not like it's a bad look on Nigeria or Morocco or whatever.
No, but I didn't mention country. It's just the final of your continental competition. So this is it, and...
Yeah, but it's not Senegal's responsibility to worry about that. Senegal's responsibility.
No, I'm not saying it's their responsibility, but it's just a terrible look. It's the AFCON final. The whole world is watching, and this is what's happening. It could have been 2 other African countries. It doesn't matter. It's not about just Senegal. It's just this is the bad look. We never see this in no finals ever, and then this happens. And forever, this will be remembered. Do you remember the AFCON final that descended into chaos? Yeah, because the Senegalese players walked off.
I know that that's how people think. I don't think that's how people should think.
That's what Raggi said after the game, and I think he's completely right.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think I can understand he's upset, but I think it's a bit of a kind of a trite cliche. I think we should move beyond that. If it's a bad look for Senegal and for Pape Thiaw.
He's
the one who called him. And I would assume too, Pape Thiaw was probably maybe in contact with somebody from the federation or something who said take
No,
them
we
off
saw
or
Haji
whatever.
Diouf very close talking to Mane being on the phone. I wonder if Diouf was on the phone to
Does he ever
somebody.
roll? I saw that too. Does he ever roll with a team, or is he just like a super
No,
fan?
he seemed to have like the accreditation that like members, like team staff members
Right.
seem to have, or federations or something like that. So maybe
Yeah.
he is.
I don't know if I'd go for
I
I'll
mean,
have
Claude-
you for life advice.
No, unless he's in contact with
yeah, no, of course. And the
you
guy's
know,
taking like 10.
the sports
There has to be an
minister or the
investigation. There has to be Sadio Mane. I would assume he stayed out there. He understood the situation.
president.
The bottom line is, after a certain amount of time, and we don't know what it is. It's not in the laws of the game. Different tournaments have their own directives. But if you take the players off the pitch, you forfeit the game. That's I think in every sport, that is a basic rule.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
So the obvious question is, should the referee have said, all right, you guys are off the pitch for more than a minute for no reason?
Yeah,
This is
that's
some
the
kind
thing.
of
Is there a
protest?
time limit for
Game's over.
Yeah,
Game's
yeah,
over.
yeah.
You lose.
I was wondering, as we said earlier.
Is this what the referee should have done?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a rule like that. If there's a time limit. If it's 10 minutes.
There definitely is. The referee can award.
Yeah. I don't know what he was waiting for. Was he waiting for them to come back? Because as we said, it was a break of 18 minutes.
Was he waiting? I think he was waiting for a word in his ear from CAF, and I think this is another thing. A referee in a final ideally should feel empowered to make this decision. But on a human level, he's like, I can't take responsibility for this on my own.
Yeah.
I think I imagine he was in contact or maybe waiting, and I think this is where CAF. You don't want people stepping in, but where the CAF had a referees or whatever saying like, listen, this is what the rules say. It's your call. We will back you no matter what you. If you want to, if you want to forfeit the game, you have the right to do that. Maybe he was worried because he knew he had made a bad call. Maybe he did. Maybe he knew. Maybe word got to him that he had blown the two earlier calls. I don't know.
That's the thing. We don't know.
Refereeing is very difficult.
The fact that I know we don't.
And he had a bad game.
I know. But so we don't know. But he waited 18 minutes, doing nothing until the Senegalese players came back. Not because he asked them to, because Sadio Mane.
I think it was quite 18 minutes because I think the penalty was the incident was in the 7th minute of injury time. So I think it was closer. And then the players I think, again, I haven't timed it, but.
So in L'Equipe newspaper, so if you just let me talk. In L'Equipe newspaper, they say 18 minutes. The penalty was taken in 90th plus 24. Even if you take off the 17 that were played until the call was made and they walked off, it's still a long time for the referee to be there on the pitch and do nothing. So I don't know why he was waiting. Not sure what happened there. In the end, they came back to see Brahim Diaz misses the penalty when I think everybody was waiting. That's the penalty. He's going to score. They're going to win. And Morocco were ready to celebrate. It's just an incredible. I don't think Brahim Diaz ever recovered from this. I don't think he recovers from this. I don't know how you can, because this, I think, scars you for your whole career, really.
Well, he have another chance at the World Cup to go and do something special. So the thing about football is there's often, unless you're Zidane in a World Cup final, there's often another game where you can try to repair things. I'm sure he's had his setbacks as a footballer. It's going to be very difficult. But
I mean, he was player of the tournament, received this trophy when there was the whole stadium had left, obviously, very quickly, but he was still booed and insulted by his own fans. The few that stayed in, what a nightmare for him.
And you wonder too if he's going to want to play for Morocco again. That's because obviously Brahim Diaz,
sure.
Spanish, half Moroccan. Probably would have played for Spain if they'd called him up.
Well, he has one cap for Spain.
Oh, that's right. In the friendly. So,
yeah.
What action should be taken? And then forget the rules. Let's put the rules to one side, okay? Because there's a lot of things in an investigation. But just in terms of what seems fair now, what to you seems fair as punishment for Senegal?
I think it's a fine, probably, and a couple of games behind closed doors in the next AFCON qualifiers now, because that's the next thing they will play, because obviously the World Cup is all settled. I can't see anything else. You can't take away the trophy, obviously.
You can't.
So
you don't think there's a basis to do that?
No, I don't think so.
It seems extraordinary. Yeah. I generally don't know what's going to happen. Morocco, as we were talking about off air, a really powerful country in the FIFA sphere, and I think within CAF too, because they're bringing money. They're putting a lot of money into the game.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I were Moroccan, if I would want the AFCON to be awarded to me, not based on what I did, but based on the fact that the opposition,
True.
did something bad.
And you had the chance to win it with that penalty. Anyway.
And of course, I had the chance of winning with my penalty. We can also ask, like, why was Brahim Diaz giving me, there's a lot of second guessing we can do.
Completely.
But all that said, it feels a little bit wrong that you could win it. And then one thing for me that saves it for Senegal is that if we strip the nonsense incidents aside and you just look at the football, they were the better team in the final against the best team in Africa.
The thing is, if you don't punish in a way Senegal, and ethically this was not the right thing to do from them to walk off and threat not to start the game again. But then the next team at the World Cup or the next AFCON or the Euros, the Copa America, whatever, we think, you know what? This is not a penalty. This is a referee's mistake. We're getting done here, because that's exactly what you could read on their lips. They were saying, like, we got robbed here. They cheat. We got robbed.
And that was the build-up, because they said we're getting cheated, just like Cameroon were cheated, just like Nigeria were supposedly cheated. Yeah.
So then everybody does the same. Right. And the next time you do, let's do the same, and let's see if they score the penalty after 15 or 20 minutes where we in the dressing room.
I guarantee you 1,000% that our old friend Pierluigi Collina is going to come out and say, hey, you walk off the pitch, you take your team off the pitch for anything other than racist incidents, you forfeit the game. That's what the rules say. He might tell us that, hey, look, in World Cup, it's going to be, you guys are off the pitch. If your entire team is off the pitch for more than 30 seconds or whatever it is, game's over.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
And I think you have to do that.
And
again, this referee had the power to do that.
Yeah.
And he chose not to. All right, enough AFCON. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
Real Madrid beat Levante 2-0, but Jules, one shot on target in the entire first half. Boos and call for Florentino to resign. Pañoladas everywhere. Not great.
No, not great at all. I mean, the performance wasn't great. They scored on a penalty, got that Kylian obtained and scored. And then on a corner, headed by Asensio. The rest was poor. Most of it, really. And you're right, the toxicity of the atmosphere within the Bernabeu, the ground, against the teams, against Vinicius, against Bellingham, against Florentino Perez, with calls very loud. You could hear them on television.
Even though they tried to mute them as best they could on television.
Of course, I'm sure. Bad day, although they won. So I guess that's the most important. But even from an Arbeloa point of view, his press conferences are weird. The football is strange. Everything is not right now.
He doesn't have the riz, and people are pointing out that this is Florentino's worst week since 2006, when in his first term, where he ended up resigning. I don't think he's going to resign here.
No, me neither.
But it's obvious Real Madrid fans aren't just angry about the results, and it's not as if they're all like Xabi Alonso fans and they're sad that he's gone. I think it's more the sense of drift that is really annoying them.
Yeah. Arsenal drop points with a 0-0 draw away at Nottingham Forest on Saturday, but still see the lead at the top of the table grow. Gab, should Mikel Arteta be annoyed though?
Like, you're a competitor, you'll be annoyed because it could have been, it's 2 points drop. You could look at it that way. You should be happy Arsenal played well. I agree. Forest are a tough nut to crack. He can get pelters for dropping Saka and for the fact that Martinelli wasn't very good. But so what? He's got to manage Saka's minutes, is what he's been doing all season. The one thing I might pull him up on a little bit is Victor Gyökeres, I thought, was poor. You got Kai Havertz, the best on earth.
Yeah.
But again, my Havertz love. The Ola Aina thing, come on, he's pushed into it. That's not a penalty for me.
No, I think this is the right call.
Tottenham lose at home to West Ham 2-1. More woe for the man with 2 first names. So at least he has a new first-team coach to help him.
He has Johnny Heitinga coming. I'm not sure how much of a help it would be, because Thomas Frank could be gone very quickly now. They're considering...
Maybe by the time you listen to this podcast. Maybe by the time you listen... Monday morning.
Exactly. They're considering his future very much. It's just between what we see on the pitch, which is poor, very poor, a little less away from home, but certainly at home, is poor. This game, they were poor. His substitutions and in-game management is bad. What he says doesn't add up either. He says, like, we do some things really well. No, you don't. All that kind of stuff. It's inevitable that he's under massive pressure, and I just don't think, after being in the job for almost 8 months, that he's the right guy now. He would have turned this around before.
I'm very cognizant of the fact, especially with all the sackings we've had recently, that I could be totally wrong here. I'll tell you this much. I feel like Heitinga arriving, unless Spurs are the clown show from hell, suggests that he's going to be given more time. And the reason I say this is presumably Heitinga is there because Frank wanted him and approved him, right? Otherwise, Heitinga comes over to be part of Frank's staff, then you fire Frank, presumably his staff too, and you send Heitinga back to Amsterdam? Or does Heitinga come in as some kind of Judas?
I think he's a great interim coach until you find another manager. You could also see his
How would you feel if you're the
way.
manager and you bring in my successor? It's kind of like, those evil corporations where they make you hire a guy to train them to do your own job and then that person replaces you? I don't know.
True, but they briefed all week that they had constructive meetings with Thomas Frank, with the signing of Conor Gallagher, with the arrival of Heitinga, and now they're briefing that they are thinking about sacking him. So... That's not serious stuff. You can't go like this from one week to the next, I think. Well, I think when things are that bad...
But then don't hire Heitinga.
Well, unless he's there to stay. Regardless of who's on the bench, really. Talking about Heitinga, his former club, Liverpool, and Burnley draw 1-1 at Anfield as Dominic Szoboszlai misses a penalty. Gab, are you going to say it's variance?
It is. It's karma. It's the yin and yang equalization of the universe. Early in the season, they won 5 Premier League games in a row with all those late goals. Rio, 10th minute of injury time. Salah, 5th minute of injury time,
including against Burnley.
Including against Burnley when they weren't particularly good. In this game, Szoboszlai aside, and you expect them to take the penalty better, but it was nowhere near as bad as Brahim Diaz's penalty, by the way.
No,
I should say. You dominated this game. They could have won this game. They should have won this game, but it didn't work out, right? So it's balancing out. Doesn't change the fact this team needs to get better in double quick time. And Florian Wirtz operating wide again. What's going to happen when Mo Salah comes back? By the way, lost the third place match at the AFCON. I'm sure he's crushed about that. These are all questions. So Arne Slot's work isn't done at all. My boy, Rino Matarazzo, is on fire, Jules. Real Sociedad beat Barcelona 2-1. The lead is down to a single point.
Just a point, you're right, between them and Real Madrid. Matarazzo and Real Sociedad, great, although they can play this game 99 times again and they would not win it because...
They parked the bus, yes.
Barcelona, I think, hit the woodwork 5 times. 5 times.
4 disallowed goals.
4 disallowed. Some of them, no problem. Some for millimeters. It was just one of those days where I think Barcelona could have played for another hour. Okay, maybe they would have scored eventually. But they had so many chances. They were by far the better team.
They were. The only one thing I would say is that this was very Flickian in the sense that the defending is still garbage.
Yeah,
the ball on both goals. On the first one, Koundé.
I mean, what's going on with Koundé?
Well, also, shouldn't there be somebody realizing Koundé might go to help in the middle, so I need to track back behind? I don't know. And then on the second one, Gonzalo Guedes has nobody within 3 meters of him.
Yeah.
How is this possible?
I know.
This time it's not the high line. This time it's just bad defending.
Yeah. Bayern Munich are terrifying, Gab. They go a goal down away to Leipzig at halftime, play poorly in that first half, and then storm back to win 5-1 away.
Yeah, not just that, but Jamal Musiala comes on and lays on an assist.
Yeah.
That guy's back in town too. Jules, it's insane. They're on pace to score 134 goals this season.
Wow.
The record is 101.
Yeah.
They're on pace to get 94 points. The record is 91. I'm assuming they won't get the points total because late in the season they'll focus on the Champions League, whatever.
Yeah.
The goals total, though, I think is still very much in play.
Incredible.
They're just so much better than everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is way, way back on Friday, but it was so good we had to have it high up on the show. Paris Saint-Germain beat Lille 3-0, and I'm pretty sure we will not see a better goal in 2026 than the one Ousmane Dembele scored.
Yeah, Ousmane Dembele's second goal. The first one was decent, to be fair, too, but the second one is a piece of magic. Absolutely art. Beautiful to watch if you haven't seen it yet, where he gets the ball and does a couple of tricks, a little hook, and then the double touch, and then the lob, the chip over the keeper. It's just absolutely incredible.
And it wasn't a soft chip. It was a chip where the ball moves.
Yeah.
That is so difficult to do.
Amazing. Liam Rossegno made his Premier League debut on the Chelsea bench on Saturday, and they beat Brentford 2-0. Gab, you were there. What did you think?
I thought this was the first real test because Palmer, Caicedo, and whatnot were back. I thought they were very lucky. I think they could have easily lost this game. They were gifted a goal. There is a lot of work to do. He can emphasize the clean sheet all he likes, but I think he knows that they have a lot of issues to work out. This isn't his team yet.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty obvious. Sticking with Chelsea, they're linked with Rennes defender Jeremy Jacquet. Jules, should they be excited?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, at 20, he's maybe the best defender of his generation, not just in France, but in Europe. Incredible talent. He's got everything.
Pau Kubasi says, hola.
Yeah, I would go for Jacquet every
Dean
single
Heisen
day.
says,
right now. I
hola.
would go for Jacquet every single time.
Ooh.
Part of that incredible 05 generation at Rennes with Matistel and with Désiré Doué, of course, and Belocian. But it's also about the price. They want 80 million euros or 70 million euros. I'm not sure Chelsea are ready to pay that.
Otherwise, they can just bring back Sarr if they need another defender.
Yeah, true. Inter mix it up ahead of the Champions League clash with Arsenal by staying 3 points clear at the top of Serie A after 1-0 win over Udinese as Lautaro scores the only goal.
It's Ballon d'Or, Lautaro, to you. Yeah, look, they scored early. The goal, by the way,
Lovely
is an
Pio
absolute
Esposito.
peach. The Francesco Pio Esposito at the end, 10 consecutive passes, which by Italian standards is a ton. If you really want to, and of course he rested some players ahead of the Champions League game with Arsenal. If you want to nitpick, should they be scoring a second goal because you never know what can happen to put it out of sight? Yeah, maybe, but they were very much in control. Borussia Dortmund nearly drew a Dortmund and throw away a 2-goal lead against St. Pauli before Emre Can's late VAR penalty give them the 3 point, Jules.
I mean, we've said it all through the season, right? How entertaining they are because with them, you just don't know. Anything can happen anytime, all the time, even in a game that they control. Adeyemi being very good and then St. Pauli just coming back and score 2 goals. You think, oh, really?
Like, 2 set-piece goals, as if you don't know. This is the only way St. Pauli's going to score.
Exactly. And like clearly not prepared. They got lucky in the end to get that penalty and that goal. And they probably win. They probably deserve to win the game. But it's not a way to go for the season.
No. But based on XG, they deserve to win. The penalty, by the way, it's one of those where, like, it's obviously a foul. It's a stupid foul.
Yeah.
But
it's right on the corner. It's on the line of the. It looked to me that he was outside of the box.
It looked to me too.
I was like, really?
And I'm like, how do you know VAR?
I know.
Presumably, you're looking at the same pictures I am.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like,
I was not convinced.
Yeah, it would have been bad. And Fabio Silva getting the start ahead of Girassi again. That's a thing,
Yeah. Juventus stumble away to Cagliari 1-0. Gab, are you going to blame Spalletti?
No, I'm not. They played really, really well. How about some stats for you?
Go on.
Cagliari's first shot of any kind, you only took 3 shots, an XG of 0.11. Their first shot of any kind was like minute 59 or 55, something like that. And they scored on a shot a few minutes after that. Juve created more chances. Juve played well. I think he's got a decent balance now. He's put his faith in Fabio Miretti, the guy, the Italian De Bruyne, as he called himself. This is because he's an egomaniac, but after his debut, he's like, who do you model yourself on? It's like, well, one day I want to be the Italian De Bruyne. Like, okay, all right, all right. Get his name out of your mouth for now, please. But this is the Juve sphere, right? So like, oh no, we've lost. Oh no, we need this, we need that, and we're gonna get to one of the guys they've been linked with. But man, just chill. Let Spalletti do his thing. Like I said, I am not a Spalletti guy, but just let him work. The only living Sorloth in captivity gives Atletico Madrid a 1-0 win over Alaves. Jules, once again, it's not straightforward for El Cholo. It never is.
It never is, and it's not pretty either, but it's a huge win. It's a big, big win because Betis had beaten Villarreal the night before, so Atletico come back level on points with Villarreal in 3rd place, just behind on... I mean, I think they have the same goal difference, plus 18 too. So just there with them, they had to win. It was not convincing, but they get the win. It's just... I don't think they will ever play well.
There's that. Do you think...
Alvarez is just the shadow of himself. Has been for weeks now.
Yeah, it used to be he just didn't score. He used to be just played badly away from home. Now he plays badly all the time.
Exactly.
And also, Alex Baena, like, why isn't he starting?
I know.
Why isn't he given a bigger role when he's, I think, clearly, maybe apart from Giuliano, potentially one of the most important attacking players you have.
Yeah, decisive. You're right. Niklas Füllkrug comes off the bench to score the only goal as Milan beat Lecce to stay 3 points back of Inter. At the top of the table, Gab, is he the answer? What a story.
If he's the answer, then I'm not sure what the question is. Look, again, this is a pattern in Serie A. Lecce, hyper defensive, parking the bus. Milan went with Rafael Leao and Pulisic up front. created chances,
Yeah, they missed a lot of
couldn't
chances.
finish them. So eventually, Allegri, and by the way, especially in the second half, but this is how Allegri should play, the way they played in the second half. There's no Luka Modric. So, look, I'm going to play two playmakers, Ricci and Jashari, because it takes two of them to make up one Luka Modric. Fine. They took the game to them. They created chances. He should take that blueprint before the full crew goal. Now, instead, all the focus is going to be on full crew this and that. Finally, center forward when we need. Yeah, watch this guy play 3 times in a row, and you're going to want to put him in the dust.
Sure.
I'm happy for him. He scored. I feel bad for him, though, because he's staying in a hotel in Milan.
Yeah.
Tell me if this seems a little suspicious. So his hotel room, somebody was burgled. And according to the reports, they took 500,000 euros, which is close to $600,000 worth of items. Now, I genuinely wonder, Nicholas Fulkrug does not strike me as a bling guy kind of guy.
Maybe he has a few watches, a few bags, a few...
Which he keeps in his hotel room? That would be like that. Those are some really nice watches.
Bit of a cash.
I hope. I wonder how much of that was in cash. Aston Villa lose at home to Everton 1-0, which means they don't get to be second in the table. And by the way, what a story it would be if they actually had been second in the table.
Yeah.
Jules, Unai Emery was grumpy, and you can see why. McGinn injured now as well.
Yeah, knee injury. They've lost Kamara, I think, for a bit of time. Onana wasn't there too. The McGinn injury, I think, is bad, obviously. And he was very grumpy after the game. It was a very awkward post-match interview on
Emery,
UK
awkward?
television.
Never.
But more than usually even. There's long silences. He says that they're not even top 5 contenders, let alone title contenders, but top 5 contenders, that they're basically not ready compared to other teams. And I know they are under they have financially struggled. That's why Malen has gone. That's why they might get Tammy Abraham, but obviously not the same value. So I know it's difficult, but you still only third, level with City in second, only 7 points behind Arsenal, who you've played twice already, so you won't have to face them again. It's not that bad, Unai.
No, I've said they should find a way to double down. But the problem is, and I think people need to understand, because I think this is an underreported story. If Villa had to reach a settlement agreement because they breached UEFA's financial fair play. And the same applies to Chelsea, by the way, which is why these Jacquet stories for 80 million.
Amount,
I hate that. If you shift somebody else and bring some money in,
sure.
Maybe we can talk. Otherwise, if they breach the goals that UEFA set for them, and these aren't necessarily break-even goals, these are goals where you're going to have to come back in from your breach before, they automatically get suspended from Europe for a year. That is what they agreed to in their settlement agreement. So you can see why they're being so cautious and so conservative. But yeah, it just sucks for the fans, frankly.
Yeah. And speaking of Villa, as we said, they let Daniel Malen move to Roma, and he scored straight away as they beat Torino 2-0 on the road.
This is the same Torino. They played them in the Coppa Italia and lost, but they played almost like an entirely different lineup in this game, and they looked really good. Paulo Dybala, we had a Dybala sighting. He looked really good.
Lovely.
Dybala and Pellegrini setting up Malen.
Yeah.
That was all good. Again, on Thursday when you weren't here, we had Sam in, big Villa fan, and he's like, all right, so we really need to move Malen out to get in.
But they did it for money, right? For
it's got to be.
Reasons.
It has to be. You get his wages off. I think the fee package is like 25 million or something. It's a lot of wheeling and dealing to balance the books. It's not a good situation to be in. I wish clubs were more transparent about this, both to the coaches and maybe to the fans, and just say, look, this is the reality. We are hamstrung. I think fans would understand. Fans care about the clubs. Now you have a situation where I think, some fans, not the hardcore who know this stuff, but some fans are like, oh, why are you giving up? Why are you giving in? And we're going to come back to this theme later as well. Let's talk about the Ligue 1 leaders.
Woo!
Yeah, it's not Paris Saint-Germain.
No.
Wesley Saïd's strike gives Lens a 1-0 win over Auxerre, 10 wins in a row in all competitions, 8 on the spin in the league. We're living in a stone-wise world.
We are, Gabby, and this is a club record. They've never done 8 in a row in the league, ever in the history, even when they won the title. Well done to them. Incredible. In a game that was made difficult, Auxerre played well, I thought, in this game, but Lens found an answer. It took a bit of time to break them down. And then they got it with Wesley Sneijder, who was about to be substituted because he'd worked so hard before that. And then he scored. Wonderful. They'll have new signings from January too. They have young players who are coming through who are really good, who are making a name for themselves in Ligue 1. It's just looking great. And there's the pressure from PSG and Marseille, who are not fine. By the way, next Sunday,
they
Sunday
play Marseille,
up, it's Marseille. It's away at Marseille they're playing. So it's a huge test for them. But for now, it's been wonderful. They've been the best team in the league.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. Percentage chance that we're going to be celebrating with our buddy Joseph and uncorking the champagne. Well, you won't.
I would be happy for Joseph, for sure. I would say right now, I still have PSG, even if they're behind, slightly have to be the favorite. Yeah, 1 point behind. They have to be slightly favorite. So I'll probably go for 60 PSG, 30 Lens, 10 Marseille.
All right. The Zerbi, thanks you
for
remembering him.
Stanislav Lobotka scores early for Napoli, who beat Sassuolo 1-0, Gab 3 points. But now Hakmani and Politano are injured as well.
Yeah, he can't catch a break with the injuries. He gets angrier and angrier. I think at some point, since we're talking muscular injuries, and I hate doing this. Look, you're medically adjacent. You would know about this. We don't know from the outside, right? Is there a randomness of the medical things? People attack medical departments. They question blah, blah, blah. It's certainly not normal to have this many injuries like they've had. They haven't all been soft tissue injuries. But this is a massive blow. They have the Champions League coming up. Conte can't be happy.
No.
It's always feast or famine for Marseille, isn't it, Jules?
Yeah.
They feasted on Angers 5-2. So I guess our boy Roberto De Zerbi is happy.
Yeah, very happy. He said one of the best first halves he's ever seen, not just at Marseille, but even from previous clubs.
Counting his time at Sassuolo.
Probably. They were outstanding, to be fair, in that first half. And Angers are a good team, but they're also a playing team, and there were some key players missing. Actually, Marseille are about to sign Angers' best players who didn't play at this game on Saturday, on Sunday. But incredible for Marseille. Greenwood, Guiri, Traoré, all of them really, really good. Perfect before they host Liverpool on Wednesday at the Velodrome, where I will be, and the atmosphere is going to just be incredible. So can't wait for that. Crystal Palace lose 2-1 at Sunderland, and Oliver Glasner goes on a rant saying that he feels abandoned by the owners of the club. Gab, who's right?
So on an emotional level,
I
think actually they're both right. Because Glasner can say, wait a minute, we have the greatest season in the club's history. We win the FA Cup. We get into Europe for the first time. We should have been in the Europa League, but then because of this, because of who? Because of John Textor, we're not there.
Of course.
Not my fault. And we know we're going to have more income coming in from Europe. What do? You sell Eberechieze. You nearly let Mark Gay go. Now you're letting him go in January. Mateta could go too, as we'll see in the next question. What gives? I feel abandoned. I'm left here on my own. He's touched upon it before, but never to the same degree.
Yeah.
The owners could come back and say, well, lieber Oliver, if you were so committed to this club, maybe you would have signed a new contract and you wouldn't just let your deal run down. Why should we are a smallish club, historically. We don't have an enormous fan base. We're not Manchester United. Yeah, we had this run. We spent money. We got you players for the run. We did very, very well. We might be willing to continue if we would commit. But if you're not going to commit to us, why should we commit funds that are scarce for us now when we're going to need a new manager in June? And he might like a different kind of players. He might want to. So I get both sides. Both sides emotionally are right. Intellectually, both sides are wrong. Viewed from the outside, because clearly promises were made and weren't kept, or the ownership misread Glasner.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
you can't have a guy talking like this. The Times, who are close to Steve Parish, the Palace chairman, reporting that he's going to stick around until the end of the season.
Yeah,
maybe so. I feel first and foremost for Palace fans, because this is not what this season was supposed to look like. Now, sticking with Palace, Jean-Philippe Mateta could be the next start to exit, which would obviously fuel further frustration from Glasner. He's linked to Juve. Does it make sense for Juve, Jules?
I mean, Yes, because they obviously don't have a number now. Oh, Vlahovic, Openda, David, they play one up front. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I know it's a profile that they don't have, I guess you could say.
Unless
probably.
Vlahovic is fit.
Yeah, but even that, Vlahovic maybe probably a bit more still dynamic than Mateta, old school kind of number 9. I don't know. 25 million, really? So it would be a loan, like with a fee, with an obligation to buy in the summer. I can see from him why he would want to be to a club like Juve. Amazing dream come true. He's had a career where he struggled to make a name for himself. Now finally he's there. He can maybe go to the World Cup. Okay, all that. Make the most of it now, no problem. But from a Juve point of view, I'm not too sure.
Also, from Juve's perspective, you do not have a lot of resources.
Yeah, a lot of money, right?
He's going to be 29 years old in June.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he's finished, but you won't have any resale. Why do this? And I know Vlahovic is leaving, but Vlahovic is coming back in March. If you can't win without that kind of figure between now and the end of the season, you'll have Vlahovic, and then maybe he'll stick around. Vlahovic will be very motivated when he comes back, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Because he's facing free agency, and then cross that bridge later. To me, this doesn't make sense at all.
I know. And Jacques Knopf scores deep in injury time to rescue a 3-3 draw for Eintracht Frankfurt away at Bremen. But Gab, it's not enough to save Dino Topmoller's job.
Yeah, I feel for Dino Topmoller solely because he was apparently named for Dino Zoff.
Yeah.
What a weird German
it
thing
is
to
weird,
do.
absolutely.
Like the guy who beats you in the World Cup final, the captain, like, yeah, I will name my son after him. I don't know. It's what Louis van Gaal might have called masochismus.
Yes.
But anyway, they're seventh. They have 27 points. They didn't expect to be there.
1 in 9 or something.
They've
like
conceded
that.
a bazillion goals
all the time.
Defensively, they're an absolute mess. It was fun while it lasted. Time to move on. Ansu Fati scores. There's a blast from the past. But Monaco fall at home to Lorient 3-1. Jules 7 defeats in their last 8 in Ligue 1. For those watching, Jules is wearing a Monaco jersey in their honor. Weirdly, the only team that they've beaten in Ligue 1 since Halloween. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
Paris Saint-Germain.
PSG, that's right. They also did better in the Champions League than in the league in that period of time. I don't know. They can't get that consistency. I don't know what's going on when they play teams like Lorient, like they did at the weekend, because they were not very good and Lorient hit them on the counter. Mistakes by Eric Dyer. Wout Faes and Eric Dyer as your 2 centre-backs for a game like this. Incredible, really. I don't know where that is.
Are you not about Faes?
Well,
he's not the Belgian David Luiz?
Well, he might be. Well, they got him on loan from Leicester. But for Pocognoli, it's hard. And now they go to Real Madrid on Tuesday in the Champions League. Again, they have to, they need to get a point. They play Real Madrid and Juventus back-to-back in midweek in the Champions League. So they need something a bit special in those games.
Can you imagine if they screw the pooch again? If they screw the pooch against Real Madrid? I mean, it's a good time to play Real Madrid.
Yeah, I guess it's a good time, yeah. Marc-Andre ter Stegen could soon have a new home, Gab.
Actually, I'm not sure he's going to move house because he's
down the road,
close to joining Girona at home. So he doesn't even, it's just a slightly longer commute.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. I really like him as a player. I really like him. I think as a person, I think he's always been really forthright with the club. I like the way he stood up to him, didn't allow himself to get bullied out when it looked like it was going to happen. He's a good goalkeeper if he's fit, and he deserves to play regularly. And not a Girona.
Too good for Girona, right? To be fair,
I'm not a Girona fan, but he obviously wants to take this time. Maybe I can get some games in. Maybe internationally something can happen, and then I'll see where I am in the summer. I think from his perspective it makes sense. From Barcelona's perspective, obviously getting his wages, or
for Germany as well,
a portion of his wages, and for Germany especially, it makes sense because we've seen what the goalkeeping situation was like in the last couple of internationals. FIFA say they've had 500 million ticket requests for the World Cup, Jules. That's one for every 14 people on this planet, including men, women, and children.
Yeah.
I have no frame of reference. What does it mean?
I mean, if it's true, because again, I'm sure FIFA would not fib, obviously. Definitely not.
Okay. They're not fibbing. They probably did have 500 million applications, but it is probably same people applying for more than one game.
Yes.
Doesn't mean 500 million people want to go to the World Cup.
Yes.
It is probably a lot of bots from ticket resellers.
Yes, because in the US, you explained the other day that you can
It's
sell.
entirely legal.
Yeah.
And even where it's illegal, you can still create fake accounts and send
Yeah.
people. So, yeah, I think we need
That's
to
what it is.
let's
But
take a little chill pill on this one.
if it's true, then it's bigger than anything that we've ever seen in World Cup history. So let's see. And sadly, we finish with a sad note, Gabby. Fiorentina owner Rocco Commisso has passed away. Gab, you got to know him a little bit.
I did, yeah, and he was an important figure, not just in Serie A, but also in the U.S. You'll remember his lawsuit against Major League Soccer, where when he was the owner of the New York Cosmos, he was determined to introduce promotion and relegation. Came to Italy, came to Fiorentina, spent a lot of money, left some great legacies behind, like the Viola Park, which is sort of this tremendous training complex that they have, really state of the art, easily I think the best one in Italy.
Yeah.
At the same time, was known to be extremely, and look, if I were an outspoken billionaire, I would take these liberties too, right? So, he would take issue with stuff that's like written in little blogs in like the local press in Florence and stuff. Very colorful figure, self-made billionaire. Went to Columbia University, incidentally, on a scholarship. Larger than life, and he's passed on. And our thoughts go out to him and his loved ones. Jules, this brings us to an end on a sad note, but we have Champions League football.
We have in midweek.
I kind of missed the Champions League.
He's back, and back-to-back, by the way, back-to-back week as well. So
we're at the business end here. So we're going to be back on Thursday to tell you all about it. Until then, love the game, love your neighbor, love yourself.